Hey, so as some of you know, um, I use my platform to raise awareness of issues relating um, to disability and disability rights and discrimination. This might be a bit of a long one, just to let you know. So I had a few months ago, so last year, I had to have an assessment done in my home. As somebody with disabilities, I needed to have what's known as a raised toilet because the low level toilets are difficult for me to use. And to make changes like that, you have to have, you have to go through a certain process. So I had an assessor come to my home from a council that is in the area I live. And the person that came out was quite rude to me. They were quite discriminative towards me. They started talking about someone in their area that used a mobility scooter, not because they had disabilities, but because they were lazy. I did say to this person that they shouldn't make those assumptions, first off. And second, what's the relevance to my situation? As you know, we're talking about a toilet. They then said that they did, or they implied that they didn't believe I had any disabilities and wanted to know what they were. Okay, fair enough. So I told the person and said that, I have the documents from the hospitals, from consultants, etc., my medical records, and I can fetch those for the person whilst they were there to prove my conditions. They said that that wasn't necessary. They'd make their decision based on our interaction. It's like, but I have evidence-based medical records. Surely you would need those to back up what I was saying, rather than just sit there and make assumptions. But no, this person wanted to carry on making those assumptions. They asked me to explain why I needed this raised toilet, which I proceeded to do. They then said they would have to witness me using the toilet. Okay, so I asked what their actual qualifications were in determining that. And they said, well, they were just an assessor, but they would still need to observe. Okay, I wasn't about to use the toilet in that essence, but, getting on and off it, sure, without actually using it. They then wanted to know how tall I was and said that toilets are determined by the height of the person standing and sitting. And if it's proven that the one I have is for my height, then nothing would be done. So, well, that might qualify for somebody who is fully able-bodied, but not for somebody with disabilities, physical disabilities. That didn't seem to matter. They then proceeded to tell me how to use a toilet. Okay, I'm not sure why they would need to tell me that and know how to use a toilet. So I tried to explain again why the height mattered. The person then proceeded to say they understood because in their house they have two toilets, an upstairs and a downstairs, and one of them is slightly higher than the other, and they prefer the higher one. So, okay, this isn't about a preference. This is a need, a physical need determined by my physical disabilities. It's not a preference. They then went on about, again, me leaving my home. And what do I do when I need to leave my home? What help do I have? What aids do I use? So, okay, what's that got to do with the toilet? So I thought, okay, I'll play along. So I started telling them. But, when I have really difficult days, I can't go out. And they said, oh, well, yes, they understand, because if they're not feeling well, they don't go out. Okay, having disabilities is not comparable to someone feeling unwell. And I did tell them this. No, they didn't accept that. If I'm feeling unwell, then I don't go out. Yeah, people with disabilities can feel unwell also. And again, feeling unwell is not comparable to having a disability. So then the answer was, oh, well, if it's that difficult for me, then don't bother going out. What? So I shouldn't go out at all then? Well, if it's that hard for you, is what this person said. If it's that hard for me, then I shouldn't bother going out at all. Again, what's the relevance of this with the toilet? So this person continued to be derogatory towards me. In the end, I had to ask them to leave. I was so upset and distressed by it and in disbelief that I contacted the council to complain about this person. They got in touch with me and said they had asked the person about it. They denied what I had said, therefore it didn't happen. Did I have any viable evidence to prove what I claim they said? Beg your pardon? So I didn't accept their answer, and I took it further. I took it to what they call stage 2 of the complaint. Said, I had no validation of my feelings. I had no validation of my condition. I had no validation of my disabilities, and I've had no validation of my initial complaint. So I wanted to take it further, and I also asked for any of their reportative evidence. I got a letter back after that stating that they put in the request for the evidence, that their investigative evidence. I will have to wait for that. But they're not upholding my complaint because, as they stated, there's no viable evidence. So they're taking this person's side over mine. But they want me to work with them and continue to be compliant so that they can help me. What? So my answer is simply this. And this is a decision I made straight after that. I wished I'd done it on the day. But every phone call, every conversation I have, whether it's face-to-face or over the phone, I record it. And yes, I am allowed to do that. The only time that they say, oh, you can't record someone, yes, you can. If you don't have consent from both sides or all parties involved, it's just not admissible in court in the country I live. But I do say to people, I'm recording this conversation. My phone has it set up automatically and it states this call is being recorded. So that's what it's come down to, is that if there's no viable evidence, it didn't happen. This is discrimination on so many levels, that we are not believed, that we are put down, that we are ignored, we are not validated. That is discrimination. And the fact that it came from one of my local councils is just disgusting and unacceptable. So I just want to raise this awareness that if you are having conversations with people, record them. So then you've got their viable evidence when things go wrong, because this won't be the last time this sort of things happens. And no, I won't be going to them for their help. If that's their help, then I don't want it, not from them. So I just wanted to make this video just to say, hey, make sure that you are covered and do your best to stay safe.